Product teams frequently encounter a tension between doing what's best for the business and what's best for customers. And how might we address this? How might we overcome this and help those teams make better decisions? That's what we're going to be talking about today. My name is Jim Callback. I'm the Chief Evangelist at Mural, and I'm here with our very, very special guest, Teresa Torres. Hello, Teresa.
Hey, Jim. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself and Product Talk?
Yeah, so I have spent the last 13 years now, actually just past my 13th year anniversary, working as a product discovery coach. That basically means I help product teams make better decisions about what to build. And of course, the way that we do that is by getting constant feedback from customers, testing our assumptions, really making sure that we're building for and with our end users and not just whatever we think internally in our business.
Right.
And of course, there's a lot of components to that, but I think we're going to dive into the details here.
We are, and you can also dive into the details in your book, Continuous Discovery Habits, one of my new favorite books. And Teresa, I recommend this to everybody that I come in contact with, and I'm currently teaching, or I'm recommending this in my courses as well. So is this what you're talking about when you say Continuous Discovery Habits?
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for recommending the book. I appreciate that. Here's the thing. When I started working with teams in a lot of different contexts, I heard the same thing over and over again. People think they're doing discovery well. They think they're making good decisions. And it's because we forget to put in feedback loops that tell us whether we got it right or not. So we get broad strokes. Did anybody buy the product? Does it look like they're generally using it? But we don't get specifics. What are they specifically doing? How are they using it? Are there needs that we could be meeting that we're not? And so I think the key to doing this well is we have to build in strong feedback loops. Now, UXers have been doing this, have been thinking this way for quite some time, but they don't always bring the business perspective. Now, product managers often bring the business perspective, but they sometimes don't bring the UX customer-centric perspective. So my goal with the book was to write a book for teams, so cross-functional teams of product managers, designers, and engineers, to help them work together on how do we align these things? How do we make sure we're starting with the business need so that there's money to pay our paychecks, and we earn the right to serve our customers over time? That's what that money does for us.
Yeah.
But that we also keep that customer-centric mindset, and we look at how do we create value for the customer in a way that creates value for the business.
Yeah.
And in the book, I just outline a series of habits. For my UXers, a lot of them are going to sound really familiar. Some of them will be new as we get into the business side of things. Product, same thing. A lot of product managers have done some of these things. Maybe some of the UX stuff will be new. For the engineers, that might all be new because we've been terrible at including engineers in this process. But it really is just meant to be a guide for cross-functional teams for how do we build products that our customers love that also work for our business.
And you have a specific technique to do that visually, which we love here at Mural, visually. It's called the opportunity solution tree. So I'm just going to move over here, and we have an example of one. And I'd love for you to kind of walk us through this. I'm actually going to follow you in the canvas. So if you want to zoom in there a little bit tighter, that would help so that we can see.
So before I zoom in, let me start with the overall structure, and then we can zoom into the individual pieces.
Yeah.
So one of my goals in my coaching work, it's so easy for teams to be dogmatic about specific tactics. We have to do it this way. We have to do it that way. I've worked with a lot of teams in a lot of different environments, and one thing I've seen is that there's a right tactic for that team in that moment in time, not a universally right tactic. And so my goal with the opportunity solution tree was, can I uncover this underlying structure that guides discovery, but still gives teams tactic flexibility? So that's the goal. So in thinking about that, I looked at there's sort of 3 high-level components of good discovery. The blue box at the top here is our desired outcome. This is where we're basically representing the business need. So what does our business need from us? What outcome do they want us to derive? At a lot of organizations, this is a metric. It doesn't have to be, though. It's really just as a team, what does success look like for the business, for our team? And then once that's in place, I'm going to zoom out here. This green space is what I call the opportunity space. So opportunities, it's a little bit of jargon, unmet customer needs, pain points, and desires, right? So what we're looking at is, as we go learn about our customers, which I recommend we do through customer interviews, what are they trying to do? What are their goals? Where are they running into friction? What are their hopes and dreams? How can we support that? And one of the things I like to do is do this in a hierarchical tree. So one of the challenges that every product team on the planet runs into is we hear about this big, hard, meaty need, and we never tackle it. Because it's going to take a quarter or 3 quarters or 5 quarters, and business is obsessed with short-termism, and we never prioritize it. So one of the things we get from this hierarchical structure is let's take those big, hard, meaty needs and deconstruct them into their sub-components. So if I zoom in on one branch here, I can take a high-level need, like I'm going to use Netflix as my example because everybody on the planet is familiar with Netflix. Okay. Maybe we interview customers and we hear a very common need, I can't find something to watch. Mm-hmm. Okay, Netflix could spend the rest of their corporate life trying to address that need, and they will never fully satisfy it. That doesn't mean they can't create value there, right? Mm-hmm. So as we interview, we can learn about why can't people find something to watch, and we can identify sub-opportunities. Mm-hmm. So maybe for you, you have a movie in mind. You already know what you want to watch, but you don't know how to find it on Netflix, right? So maybe there's a sub-opportunity of I have something in mind, but I don't know how to find it. Maybe for me, I'm trying to find a new show to watch, and I'm trying to figure out, will I like this show? Okay, so now if we dig into something like, will I like this show? We could break that down even further. Well, how do people evaluate shows? Maybe they ask questions like, who's in it? What type of show is it? Is it like something else I've watched before? These are all opportunities, right? And as I move vertically down the tree, as I deconstruct opportunities, I start to get into small pieces of work. So who's in this show is an opportunity that we actually could solve fully in a not very long period of time. We could release it. Now, are we solving this top level opportunity if I can't find something to watch? No, but we're partially solving it for the people who are trying to evaluate shows that want to know who's in it. So what this does is it allows us to learn about customers, learn where there's friction, where are they running into problems, where can we better meet their needs? And then if they're enormous, we can break them down so that we can do it iteratively. And this iterative breakdown is really what unlocks a continuous cadence to our work.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go along and reflect what you said there. Can't find something to watch. What was the middle one that you had here?
Will I like this show? Mm-hmm.
And then who's in it, right?
Yeah.
So that is a lot more specific, right? But like you said, can't find something to watch, has no beginning and end. Like you're never going to be like 100% there, but who's in it? Yeah, we can solve for that.
And typically these top level opportunities are evergreen, right? They're the types of opportunities that we'll work on forever, right? But they have a huge impact on our business. Like if our outcome was something like increase average viewing minutes per week, well, I'm only going to do that if I help you find something to watch. Right. And then every team, like we're not just here to explore customer needs and learn about our customers. We're a product team. We have to ship something, right? And so as we choose a target opportunity, and I do recommend teams work on one opportunity at a time, they start to explore multiple solutions. And this is something a lot of us don't do. We don't have a lot of time. We just jump to our first solution. But we know from decision-making research, when we compare and contrast, we make better decisions. My designers know this. That's why we always do multiple designs, right? And so this is where we can ask, okay, how might we show the data, show to a customer who's in this show? And there's a lot of ways to do this. And actually, we see companies innovating in this. If you've ever paused while watching Netflix, you get the little banner at the bottom that tells you who's on the screen. That's like a very innovative way beyond just, here's a list of the cast, right? So for something that seems like a really simple opportunity, there's actually lots of potential solutions to it. I recommend teams choose their top 3, and they can just use their team's judgment, right? We generated a lot of ideas. How do I whittle this down to 3? 3 is a good compare and contrast set. More than that, it's a lot of work. We really don't have time. Fewer than that, we start to get confirmation bias. We're falling in love with our favorite ideas. And then to evaluate the ideas, I recommend teams break the solutions down into their underlying assumptions and rapidly test those assumptions. Now, for a lot of teams, this is a foreign idea, right? If I say, Jim, let's test our ideas, we mostly jump to like, okay, let's prototype the whole thing.
Right.
The challenge is doing the design work for 3 ideas is a lot of work, right? I don't want to do all of that work up front. I want to first look at, like, are there particulars that I could test? Like that X-ray solution that I suggested where you pause and you see who's in the cast. That depends on this assumption that, like, people want to know who's on the screen right now. That's an assumption that we could test without prototyping that whole solution, right? And so it's really pushing into testing these particulars rather than testing the whole idea that allows us to move quicker. And when we move quicker, we evaluate more ideas. When we evaluate more ideas, we make better decisions. We better satisfy the opportunity in a way that drives our outcome. And this is what allows us to satisfy a customer in a way that drives business value.
Right. Wow, that's fantastic. When I first came across this, I thought, wow, this is too simple to be true. But basically, you have the business goal at the top, you break down the hierarchy of needs, and then you map that to solutions and test those. It's all right here for the team to see too, right?
Yeah. Here's what I'll tell you, though. It's hard in practice.
Yes.
So it looks really simple, right? But here's what happens. You start interviewing customers and you quickly get overwhelmed by opportunities.
Yeah.
And every customer expresses things a little bit differently. And so you get a lot of opportunities that are really duplicative. Are they really the same thing? Is this a child or is this a parent? What's right? When I say child parent, that's just opportunity, sub-opportunity. It's messy. And so teams think this is going to be really easy, and then they get into it and it's a hot mess. So it's supposed to be. That's the first thing I'll share. And the real magic is not in having the opportunity solution tree.
Right.
It's in creating it. It's that teamwork of team synthesis. We learned a lot. It's messy. How do we make sense of it?
Yeah. Well, visualize it together. Right?
Exactly.
So map it out and do this as a team activity. Of course, this is the perfect platform right here to do all of this. And then you'll make better decisions as a team, right?
Yeah. And then discovery really is messy, right? So this helps us stay aligned as we do our discovery. We also can use it to kind of document our decisions. So we can highlight which opportunity we're focused on. We can highlight what tests we're running. It's a great way to visually communicate with stakeholders, right? Like at a really high level, this is what we're learning across our interviews. This is where we're focused. This is what we're learning from our assumption tests.
Right. Yeah.
So there is value in having the document. But of course, the real value is as a team, how do we do this messy synthesis work?
Yeah. I hear you. And I might throw in jobs to be done as a way to sort out some of the mess as well, too. But I think that's the topic for another episode here.
Actually, I would argue that jobs to be done is one of the methods we can use to uncover opportunities. Like I would suggest that jobs are opportunities or opportunities are jobs, whichever way you want to do that comparison. But there's a lot of overlap here between these frameworks.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we can sort that out another time. But Teresa, I know you're out on LinkedIn and people can follow you there. How else can people get in touch, or where can they find you?
Yeah, so I blog at producttalk.org. I post almost every Wednesday of the month. I think the last Wednesday of the month, we do a monthly newsletter instead of a blog post where I share what I'm finding helpful on the web, books I'm reading. So it's just jam-packed with lots of great resources. So if people want to connect there, that's a great place to do that. And also at producttalk.org, if you go to producttalk.org/opportunity-solution-tree, there's a lot of resources on how to get started with this.
Yeah, I was just over there. That page is a great resource. There's templates there. We're also going to include the template here below the video on our blog post, as well as links to your sites and to your book as well, too.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, Teresa, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.